I'm back, I'm biased, I'm bothered, and I am always unfiltered. If you are easily offended, this is not the place for you. But you still haven't managed to worthy up. Not to worry, let's get into this mess. Before we get into today's recap, I do have to give a trigger warning because we are about to see not only Joe Darger and his big bald head, right? No, not that. We are going to see a terrifying looking Joe Darger with hair. Yeah, you heard that correctly. And it is actually terrifying. But before we get to that, we're with the family and we're with Christine and Kody. Now, the basic plan of these houses is 4 bedrooms, but Christine, she wants 6 bedrooms. So this is all filmed between the sofa and each wife's house. So we're with Janelle, right? And I do have to report that the Banjack's car is still in the garden. Now, Janelle is just going for 3 bedrooms. Garrison and Gabriel, they're going to have to share. Maddie and Hunter, they're going to have their own bedrooms. Because according to Janelle, more bedrooms is more money. And this woman is on a budget, you know? And Kody is saying he wants more bedrooms because he wants Logan to have a room. And Janelle is like, no, I'm not doing that. I haven't got the money for it. Do you know what Janelle wants? Do you remember in the Duggar family when the girls just got one huge room and the boys just got another room? I guarantee you, right? That's what Janelle did like. Anyway, now we're with Robin. Now, see, she says she wants a pantry and a hobby room so she can use it as an office. Now, she also says that she wants an extra bedroom because she's sitting beside Bart and Mary, you know, and she really has to rub it into this woman's face that she is going to actually have another baby. Oh, but then I hear from Mary, right? Now, apparently, the most important thing for Mary is the wet bar. But we find out that if the wet bar comes in under $8,000, she can have it. I thought, Mary, for God's sake. But like, then she jokingly says, right? Oh, yeah, I want a tennis court for Leon. I thought that's too far, Mary. That is way too far. Anyway, Cody is saying like that Mary wants extra rooms and Janelle wants less rooms. So they should just swap houses. I thought that's not what they're saying, Cody, because Mary actually wants an excessive amount of shy, whereas Janelle is trying to be like really conservative with the family money. Anyway, we find out that the Browns are going on holiday, so they're gonna meet up with their friends. So apparently this is real funny and they're calling it a plaguecation. Yeah, I laughed the same way you did. Anyway, so we find out that the Darger family are polygamist, but they're not from the same religion because they're independent polygamists. So they're going to have dinner at Mary's house, and then the two families are heading off like to California to the beach, where I have never been, but I'd love to go. Anyway, we're finding out a bit more about this family. So Joe is the father, right? So he's married to Elena, Vicky, and Valerie, and between them, this family has 23 children, right? So Joe married Elena and Vicky on the very same day, and then 10 years later, Joe married Valerie, who was Vicky's twin sister. Yes, you did hear that correctly. So now we're in the dark house. Now we're meeting Joe. From the jump, I don't like this guy. I don't like him, okay? And no, it's not because he looks like a big toe. It's not because he looks like a Tom. I don't like him because he has like this psychopathic stare in his eyes, like when I'm looking at him. Anyway, Joe is introducing us to his family, and these are just swapping spits. Like just in the kitchen, everybody is just swapping spits together. So we meet Elena, she's wife number one. Then we meet Vicky, she's wife number two, who got married on the same day as wife number one. Now we're meeting Valerie, she's wife number three, who's the twin sister of wife number two. Oh, you know I love myself a family read. Anyway, the Darger family are going to head to Vegas. They're going to meet up with the Browns, and then they're all going to be heading off to California to the beach, right? So this is kind of set up like a couch confessional, okay, with the Darger family, and they're telling us like how their family came to be. Like they're telling us about their life. So apparently, Vicky and Lane and Lena, they've been married to Joe for 22 years, and Valerie has been married to Joe for 12 years. So Vicky and Elena, they were both like really into Joe. Like when they were younger, they both really liked this guy. And eventually Joe's mother just spoke to them and said, yeah, it's grand. God said like it's totally grand. The two of you girls like should just be banging my son, you know. Apparently that's how they do it. So as we're hearing this, we're seeing the Dagger family like packing up for their Las Vegas trip. I will say it's very organized. This is like very, very unlike the Brown family, okay? The opposite to the Brown family. So we find out these people were raised in polygamy. So the idea of having like a sister wives, like it wasn't unusual to them. Now Joe was ordering the family around as they're packing looking, but it's like something from the military. I thought, oh my God, get this guy on the SAS program. He would do brilliant on it. Anyway, Joe, like when he was going out with these two girls, right, he went to their fathers and he said like that he was interested in dating them and he was interested in marrying them. Now, Vicky's father was grand with it. She was grand with, like, all of this. But Elena's father, no, he wasn't happy about this. But like they were still all going out. It sounds like a trouble, but they were still all going out together, right? And after a couple of years, the father like basically gave his permission, but he said like that he wasn't going to give his blessing. So 2 weeks later, like he got married to Vicky and Elena on the very same day. I thought, what the hell did that wedding night look like? It had to have been a triple. Like it definitely had to have been a threesome, like their wedding night. Oh my gosh, then we find out, right? After 10 years, Valerie joined the family. Now, Valerie is Vicky's sister, right? And we find out that Valerie was actually married before for 11 and a half years in another plural marriage. Now, she's saying that was very dysfunctional, but I thought you're going to be double dipping with your twin sister. Anyway, she gets divorced. She visits her sister, Valerie, right? And Vicky and Joe, like these are just eyeballing each other. And Valerie says that she knew that they were going to get married. I thought these people look very Warren Jeffs to me. Like even the makeup of their family seems very Warren Jeffs to me. So anyway, she wasn't even like divorced for a year. And then like she's now like banging her twin sister's husband. Anyway, so we're here from Joe. But as he's talking, he has his hands on both of the knees of the twins. I thought this all just looks like a big trouble to me. This doesn't look religious at all. It doesn't. Anyway, Joe was taking out a notebook with a seating chart of where like the family should fit in the goddamn van that they're traveling in. I thought really you need a seating chart for that. Anyway, so apparently when Joe was being like a drill sergeant and telling everybody in the family where they can't sit, like they don't argue with them, like they're just nice. I thought how very feckin' telling. Imagine this being your father, right, with a seating chart, and you were just like, oh yeah, grand, like my dad has a seating chart. Anyway, now we're back with the Browns, right, and we're finding out what Cody thinks of Joe, and because this is basically what Cody is saying, right? Because Valerie, like, she was basically used good, because she was married before. Also, she had other kids, right, that she was bringing into the family, and like he's talking about this woman as if she was like in the dog pound and she needed to be rescued. And he's basically saying the very same thing about Robin. Anyway, he reckons that Joe is Valerie's hero for taking her and her kids like out of the dog pound. And he is saying that he feels the very same way about Robin. Now the Darger family, like they're arriving at the Brown family's house, and Christine is just blown away by how these women look, right? I'll tell you what they look like. These look like Stepford wives because they all look the same, but like the Timu version, that's a crap jewellery, okay? Very Mormon, very polygamous looking people, but apparently Christine is just blown away like that they look that good. So we're having dinner at Mary's like huge mansion, and Cody asked Joe, what time do you want to leave at tomorrow, like, to head off to the beach? And Joe says, I don't mind what time we leave, but if you tell me 8, don't be leaving at 10. I thought, oh no, this could be a problem. Like the Brown family, they're never early for anything. I thought, oh no, this could be a family. So the Brown family is telling Jory that they're telling him 10, but they're gonna be telling themselves 8. And I thought, that's good. That's good. Because they need a fighting chance. We know what these are like when they have to go anywhere. So it's the next morning, and Cody is up, and he's just like, there's an hour and 15 minutes to go. Now he's just running around like a headless chicken, and he's cleaning out the back of the car. Now there's loads of sweets in it, right? But then he's calling the kids to help, and he says, where are my slaves? I thought, Cody, what the hell are you doing? What are you saying? I don't like any of that. Just say, lads, can you come out and help me? And by the way, you should have done all this like the night before. Anyway, Christian reckons, right, that their family is always chaotic. They do have a plan, but it's kind of like each person has their own plan, which seems quite true. So Cody is trying to pack the van, and Mary is telling him to calm down, like, and to stop screaming. And I thought, Cody, you should have been out there. Like, you should have had all of this shite ready. But I can tell that Janelle absolutely hates Joe Darger. I can tell. And she's annoying she's annoyed at him for saying like, "Don't be getting me up at 8 if you're not going to be ready until then." I don't blame her. If somebody came to my house, right? If somebody was staying with me and came to my home and they'd get my boo up the hole, right? It'd be the first and only time they ever step foot in my house. I wouldn't have liked any of this either. But Mary apparently loves Joe and his organizational skills. I knew she would. I knew that she was going to love him. But I'll tell you, right? Christine also loves Joe. Now, do you remember Trader Bill, right? And I was saying Christine loves a bit of BDSM, right? I know that she does. I know that she does because, like, she doesn't even mind the screaming. And we know, of course, that she loves David with the big bald head. So Christine, like, she thinks that he is great, right? And she's saying that Joe's family does everything because they respect him. I thought, no, Christine, they're probably fucking terrified of this guy, you know? Anyway, so we're at the rental house for the holiday. I do have to say it looks really nice. I like the look of this place and the family all like it. So Cody thinks it's going to be an organization nightmare. I thought, no, no, because Joe had pulled up the plans prior. This man has everything organized. Who's going where, like where everybody is sleeping. I can't, right? I can't with somebody like this. But Christine, like, she thinks he's great. She loves this guy. And then, oh, now we're talking about the kitchen. I thought, oh, touchy subject for the Brown family. Mary does not want to talk about it. Now, Cody reckons that Joe does lead his family, but the wives, like, basically lead the Brown family. And I thought, well, somebody has to, Cody, because you're absolutely crap. But then Robin pipes up and Robin says, maybe we need to shut up, Cody. And I thought, yes, you definitely need to shut up. So it's the next morning, right? And I'm hearing from Cody about the family plans, and apparently they're going wave running, okay? And then of course Brianna, she's like a fly on shite, like just all over this man. I thought, get the hell away, kid, get the hell away. Anyway, over with the Darger family, right? And Joe was saying to the small girls, like in his family, cute, cute, cute. I don't like this guy. I do not like him. Anyway, so the family is arriving at the beach. Now there's loads of kids, like, and loads of adults because it's a huge family. Now, some of the kids are in shorts, right? So, and t-shirts. Some of them are in swimsuits. And I'm very confused about the modesty rules. Do you remember McKelty being told like to cover up when they and like the kid was wearing a pair of jeans, a pair of Ugg boots. She had like about three tops and her a cardigan and a scarf, and they were still telling her like that she wasn't like covered up enough. But now these kids are out here like the way all kids are at the beach. I don't understand these rules, you know. I don't understand them. Anyway, these kids are all excited, like to be going out, you know, and having a bit of crack. And we meet a guy called Josh Cantor. Now, apparently, like this place that they're at, it went from being a very quiet morning to being very busy, like very busy, because like just all of these polygamous people, you know. Now, according to Josh, I don't know why he felt the need, but he does tell us that he has a 9-month-old daughter and a bitch. I don't know why. I don't know why he wanted to tell us that, but he did. Now, apparently, he has enough women in his lives. I thought, all right then. So, as everybody is playing in the water, Christine just feels the need to tell us again, like how much she likes Joe. I thought, I know you do. I know that you do, Christine. But she also says, right, that she doesn't mind if one of the kids from their family and one of the Darger kids, like, you know, if they get together and have a day. And then Robin pipes up again, right? And she says that some of the girls were eyeing some of the Darger boys. I thought, no, they weren't. But you know what, Robin? Get your girls to do it. Yeah, you go ahead and do that. And then she says that a couple of the girls were eyeing the boys and saying like that they could be as sister wives together. And I thought, no, not a feckin' chance. None of these brown girls are doing it. But you have two daughters of your own, Robin. So you go and sort them out on polygamy. I'm telling you, I would watch that. Anyway, the adults are talking, right? And the Dagger family want to know, like, what made Cody go public? And Cody is saying, well, you know, he was standing up for the small man, you know, and he didn't want polygamy to be seen as like this terrible thing. I thought that's all crap. You went public for the TLC money, and I don't blame you, you know, I really don't. Oh, but then we get this very sad story from Elena, okay? Now, Elena lost a baby. The baby was only 5 months old, which is just heartbreaking, okay? Now, this little baby, unfortunately, she had like a heart defect and other medical issues, and her name was Cara. But after the child passed away, the family were investigated. Now, I think that that would happen with all families, like especially if a kid was on medication, the authorities like would want to know, well, would want to know everything, right? But this woman feels that she was treated differently after her baby passed away because she is a polygamist, and she was like worried and nervous like about the other kids. So I'm thinking, right? Oh my God, that is just so heartbreaking, like just so heartbreaking. This poor little baby was obviously so unwell, and this poor woman, like, having to bury like her 5-month-old baby, not even a chance at life, and then having to explain because there's loads of kids in that family as well, and like having to explain to all of them little kids. And then we're with the Brown family, and Cody, of course, is making this all about himself, and he reckons that he can relate to this woman, like the Darger family woman who lost a 5-month-old baby. He thinks like that he can relate to her because he's a polygamist and like because he lives in fear. Like, oh, for fuck's sake, Cody, shut your goddamn mouth. Anyway, like it's just too sad. It's just too sad. So we find out, right? The families, they're gonna rent boogie boards for the kids, and apparently, like the Dagger family, this family works out regularly, and they even have their own exercise regime. I'm telling you, I know Joe Darger makes these women run off every fucking calorie they eat. I know he does, but Christine apparently is very intimidated by Joe's wives, like, because they have the workout regime. And then Robin pipes up again, right? And she says, I thought you worked out every day, Christine. So they're talking like about the Darger family workout. And Robin says, well, all my sister wives work out, like, apart from me. I thought, I know, sweetheart. I've seen you. I know you don't work out. But we do get this great shot of Janelle on a boogie board. I just loved it. I loved that she was joining in, and I hope she was having a great bit of crack. Anyway, Robin's going on about the workouts, like the Dagger family, like they're working out, and Christina saying, like, how gorgeous these women are. And then Janelle, right? Janelle just saying, like, everybody should be healthy, we work out too, and everybody should be, like, everybody should just be healthy. I love that Janelle just piped in there. Also, in the Darger family, right? They said, like, that they just swap spits all the time, like, showing affection and kissing, like, it's just part of their lives. And they discussed it, like, in front of each other. And apparently they're all fine with this, okay? But as they're like on the beach, right, Janelle is just beside Joe Darger, like with his arms around the wives, like, and he's kissing them, and she looks so feckin' uncomfortable. But I did notice, okay, that Robin has the boobies out, like on the beach. I thought, yeah, not very shy, pretty wife here, Cody. Not very modest either. Anyway, the Brown family, like, they do not do affection because in theory it should work, right? But it just doesn't work for them, and they can't even think about being affectionate in front of each other because they have so many other things that they have to work on in their relationship. I know you do. I know. Anyway, after the beach, right, the kids are going to a diner, and Cody, right, is already wondering if the kids are gonna gossip, if they're gonna be talking smack about him. Like, of course they're gonna be talking smack about you. They're kids, right? Anyway, I see that Tara Elise is here on holiday too. Now, Maddie is asking the Duggar kids if they're going to be polygamist. Now, from the jump, Caleb is saying no, he's not interested. But Samuel Matthews says yes. Okay. Now, Samuel Matthews, oh, just bear with me for this one. Anyway, Maddie says, like, your family is very organized. Then Samuel Matthews says, Papa Joe has plans for everything. I thought, Papa Joe? This is not your Papa Joe. This is literally your uncle. Well, so now we have an uncle stepdaddy situation happening in this family too. Fucking hell. Anyway, Father Logan, right? He's trying to smooth things over. Of course he is. Like, he's the father. So he's explaining, like, each person in their family has something good that they're good at. I thought, Logan, you're not gonna win this one. You're really, really not. Let it go. Let it go, Father. Let it go. Anyway, this family have a Logan also, right? Now his name is Logan Carter. Now he reckons that his dad knows everything, and of course, like, Father Logan is like trying to stick up for his dad, and he's saying that his dad knows an awful lot too. I thought, stop it, just stop it from here on now. Anyway, Maddie is saying, like, that it's sheer chaos, and the Darker kids are saying, we know it is. Now Maddie is asking, right, if the Darker mothers ever argue with Joe, and nephew's son Stephen is saying, like, his dad is just big, bald, and intimidating. I thought, that's not a good thing, though. It's not a good thing for him to be like that. Anyway, now the adults are going out for dinner in a place called Dino's Bistro, right? Anyway, I already have a question. Why the hell is Solomon here? And why is Mary looking after this baby? I don't understand it. Like it's the evening time, you know? So the Daggers, not holding any punches, right? They're getting straight into it. And basically they're saying, Kody, your family is more like four families now, like one big family. And Kody is saying the most ridiculous thing, right? He said that they moved to Vegas and they thought they may find like a millionaire's house that had four separate kitchens and 25 bedrooms and they could just buy it for pennies. And like I thought, what the hell, Kody? You really thought that? But the family says that they wanted to do a reset anyway. And then the Dargers say, right, well, let's share the kitchen. Now, Cody says they've tried it and it's something that they will never do again. Now, the Dargers think that the Browns like should all be living together. And then Mary is asking like the Darger women, but what about the decorating, you know? And the Darger wives are saying it's grand because like we have all the kids, the whole family is together. So decor, like it's not really important to us. Like I think this is how the polygamy is supposed to be. But then Cody is getting very serious, right? Now he doesn't want this pushed on him. And then we get this very tense, like back and forth, right? Because Cody says that he has two wives who think that sharing a kitchen is abusive. I thought, what? Like how? Like how the hell could that be abusive? But we're hearing right from the sofa because Mary is now crying and she says that she knows Janelle thought that she was abusive to her. I thought, yeah, I can see that. I can actually see that. But Mary is saying, like, basically, I didn't mean to be a bitch to you, Janelle. Now, Janelle is saying, well, it's just kind of your personality. But Mary is telling us that she was raised to just kind of like say how she felt, like, on what she thought. And Janelle, of course, is saying it's grand. What she's really saying is, shut up, Mary. We're on the telly, you know. Anyway, Elena is breaking the tension like at the adult dinner, and she says that sharing a man, raising the children were like her big worries, right? So they wrote out a mission statement. So Joe lets us know that he was a business major, and mission statements like they were in vogue. So he wanted one for his family, okay, to really define their values. So they all wrote out what they wanted and they blended it into one big family mission statement. I thought, of course you did, Joe. I'm not a bit surprised by that. So we're finding out that the Dagger family are basically perfect, right? These are basically perfect. Like they live polygamy perfect. And like they don't take this lightly because they're all gonna be like together for eternity, even on the planet, right? Now, partly according to them, they start reading like parenting books at 18, and I thought, I wonder how that's working out for you, Joe, because you seem like a feckin' psychopath. Anyway, now we're on the sofa with the Browns. Now, Cody is asking if they should do a mission statement. So straight off, Robin is saying, yeah. And Christine is saying, yeah. And Mary is saying, yeah. But our girl, Janelle, is saying, she doesn't really see the point. But she does say, like, that if they all want to do it, she'll do it too. So the Browns are going to follow in the perfect Darger feet lead, right? Because they're going to go and do a mission statement too. So now we're hearing from the Dargers, right? And basically, they do like the Brown family, but they think that they're like just totally chaotic. And I, for one, completely and utterly agree with them because the Browns are chaotic, but that's why we love them. Anyway, that is our recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you did, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day.